So these are the two pictures I've bought. Both are of my kids. My youngest boy here, who's 4 years old, and my eldest boy who's just turned 9. And what do these mean to me? My two pictures, my two boys are my everything. You know what? At times where the business has been up or down, you know what? They've been the consistent. They've helped me push through some really hard times, some obstacles. And everything that I do when I wake up, I know sometimes we have off days, sometimes we have down days, but I get up and grind for their future, for our legacy. I was born in a place called Park Village, which is neighbouring Heathtown, neighbouring Wentworth, neighbouring Low Hill, neighbouring quite a few different places. I grew up in there till I was about 9. Even though the majority, even of my childhood wasn't spent living in Park Village, even when I was a teenager, that's the kind of place where I hung about. So, as you say, when I was 9, moved over to Springfield, which is a part of Heathtown. Going into secondary school though, as I said, like Park Village was the place. All of my friends, so there's probably like a group of about 10 of us, was all from Park Village or neighbouring, but we always used to just meet on the estate. Park Village, there's a lot of flats that are around and there's ramps that go up. So we always used to hang about on the ramps. Sorry, Dad and Mom, but yes, you know, when we was in Park Village, again, like my mum and dad, incredible people, some of their lives and what they had to go through. I mean, that's another interview maybe for another day, but it wasn't easy, like in Park Village. There was a time, and I was young, so I don't always remember it, but I know that at one time there was just like a mattress in a room and we had to sleep on that. We had to make things happen. My dad was studying at the time to work in the hospital. My mom was just looking after us at the time. Later on, she'd become a nurse, but it wasn't the easiest. And I think as my dad qualified, then we moved. We moved over to Heathtown, we moved over to Springfield. And then my dad actually, they broke up. So my mum and dad then split up. So then I was living with my mom, and that brought a whole load of feelings and contentions up. There was a part of my life then that it wasn't the best. Looking back on it, wasn't the best. And I even have conversations with my dad to this day, and we speak about that just to overcome that trauma. But growing up, I think a key thing about my childhood is that regardless of what was going on between, say, my dad and my mum, and my nana, my mum and my nana, my dad, whatever, like I had a strong family support network. Me and my brother, I've got an older brother. My mum would do anything for us to this day. She'll do anything for me. And my dad, even though he didn't live with us, we would still go and see him regularly. And he loved us. Like, we genuinely had love. And I can say a lot of my peers, a lot of the people around me, a lot of my friends didn't have a father figure in their life. And they used to joke about it. It was like a running joke as I started getting up. They was like, oh yeah, Daryl's with us here. Then he'll go away over to his dad and live the good life. That's what they used to call it, which is a bit crazy. But yeah, growing up, then I went to Heath Park High School. As a young person, I was always driven to do more. Like, even to this day, I feel like there's a bigger picture. Like, there's something that's out there that I'm kind of gearing towards. And this is why I'm so driven in what I do day to day. But I felt that when I was in year 7, I remember there was a careers day. And it was like, what do you want to be when you're older? And you had to write it down. And I even put that down. I said, you know what? I want to run a successful company or have my own business. That was in year 7. And I always believed that. Growing up in the area that I was from though, and seeing what you see in the people that are older, sometimes that limits your vision, it limits your belief that you can do what you was put on this earth to do, what God put you on this earth to do. So when I was probably, I would say about 13, 14, as you said, all of my friends are from Park Village. Park Village is notorious for having a gang. The Park Village crew, PVC, it was still called to this day. I mean, we kind of naturally just formed that gang because, as I said, there was a group of us that hung around together and we was in Park Village all day. So we did kind of take that on. But as I started getting involved in little things, my dad did notice. And as he's noticed, he started like physically picking me up from school and taking me to boxing. I didn't want to go to boxing at the time. So I'm only like 12, 13 at this time, year 7, year 8. But he's taking me to boxing 3 times a week just to take me away from some of the stuff that he knows is going on. Obviously, he's well versed. I'm just in the area and I'm like, I want to be with my friends. But no, he took me to boxing and boxing stuck, you know, from 13, 14, 15, 16. I boxed all of that time. Still, again, I still was around my friends, but just being in a different environment and seeing, I'll tell you something that stuck with me from boxing at an early age, actually. I was pretty good at boxing, I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty good, right? And I remember sparring somebody, and now sparring, it's not a fight, so you don't win or lose, but I thought I got the better of them. I did get the better of them. And everyone's talking at the end, and these guys were talking about going to like the England nationals and traveling this and getting into the Team GB. And I was like, man, like, I never believed that I could get into Team GB and do this and do that. And I was almost getting the best of them, but they still had that belief in them. So I was like, man, these like beliefs so strong, but they've just saw what I've done to them. All that showed me, just being around the different people with different mindsets, is, you know what? Belief. And it doesn't matter what happens today, you can build towards the future. So detach from ego, detach from where your ego is, and just strive and do better in what you do. And that, I still remember the person. Sam, his name was. And when he said that to me, it was like a moment like, man, regardless of the situation right now, he's gearing towards a better life. But yeah, so many takeaways from boxing and martial arts. So as you said, my dad took me over there. I was there 3-4 times a week, still saw my friends, but saw them way less. And yeah, I continued on that trajectory for a while. When I was about 18, as I said, I've done martial arts consistently now, and probably 17, 18. So again, still around certain people that probably didn't share the same vision as me. Oh, I say another thing that happened in my childhood as well, which kind of spurred on my entrepreneurial vision and drive, is that, and it backs up what I said when I was in year 7, that I was always going to do something big. I had access to the internet, and I think I was probably 15, 16 at the time, and I managed to create an account on, it's called DHgate, it's like a Chinese supplier, and I managed to get hats bought into the UK, snapback hats. This was the time when like the snapback song came out and stuff, right? So everyone wanted snapbacks. So I saw that there was a demand for snapbacks, and I was like, wait, that price for snapbacks is super cheap. So I got some myself, and I was like, that was easy. And then I just got I've got hundreds of snapback hats in. I started selling them on eBay, and I started selling them to people. And I made a lot. I remember just in the summer, I made a lot of money. People were driving down from Birmingham to buy the hats. Like, that's no joke. Made a lot of money on that. I was a top-rated power seller on eBay. I was a top-rated seller and a power seller on eBay, and I was only 16 at the time. And that was incredible. And it got shut down in the end because eBay was like, okay, you can't get certain stuff. And like, just to be real, I'm being real on camera with you. Like, obviously the stuff would have been counterfeit. I mean, I used to tell people anyway, like, it's from where it's from, but they shut that down. But that didn't, obviously the money stream was great, but it showed me that, you know what, I can make things happen, and it wasn't so difficult. I just know how to connect dots, especially when it came to business. So that was there. But anyways, when I was 17, 18, so still hanging around people, and this showed me that, you know what, be careful of the group you're around, the circle of friends, regardless of like, they did show love for me, and they do probably still have love for me to this day, but where they was going wasn't where I was going, so I had to cause a split. But it took a situation. So in the situation, without getting into the situation too much, is I got arrested. So something happened with a group of my friends. I was the only one get arrested. They had me on like sentencing almost for like 9 months, not sure what was going to happen. In the end, it was no further action, but it could have went left. But I do remember being arrested and being in that holding cell for 2 days. They kept me in the holding cell. And just thinking, man, I never saw this for my life. I've told you, like, when I was in year 7, I always saw myself like traveling and doing this and doing that. And I was in this small cell in the smallest bed in concrete walls, and I'm like, this isn't where I saw myself. And the only part of my life at the moment that wasn't going the way I envisioned was really and what my friends were doing. So I always detached from what my friends were doing from what I wanted, but I realized there's no detachment, because what they're doing, if I'm just with them, I'm gonna get involved. I was in that cell then, and I said, you know what, nah, forget, I've got to detach from them. I'm gonna go to uni, I'm gonna sign up for uni, because I wasn't sure at the time. I signed up for business management. I detached from them, even though I still had love for them, and it was hard to do, very, very difficult, very hard. But ultimately, I knew what I wanted. I've always known that I'm on the earth to do something, so I had to make that split. Maybe it was a message from God, the universe, whatever. I did make that split, went to uni, picked business, and it was the best decision I could have made for myself. I remember basically failing my dissertation. So I had to resubmit my dissertation, which was 10,000 words, and it's like, okay, whatever. I went into the uni to give it in, resubmit it, and I saw on the door that there was a 2-day business workshop. And I'm like, man, that's right down my aisle. Again, it's funny how things work, because if I submitted it then and just got through and it passed, I would never have saw this business workshop. Speed Plus, it was called. So yeah, I gave him my second dissertation, that passed the second time, 2-day business workshop. Got onto that program, which was about a 12-month program, which give you support. They give you a small grant to start up, but they talk about structure, tax, legalities, and whatever. Now, it came at an ideal time, and there's been a lot of points in my life where things have just happened, or there's been intervention, and it's just aligned perfectly, right? So finishing uni, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but in a way I did know I wanted to do my own thing. I just didn't know what. I was passionate about martial arts. I always did martial arts, but I didn't know how I was ever going to bring that into something that I could really do. Now, what happened when I was on this business workshop, and my cousin got arrested, and I saw a lot of similarities from when I got arrested, but one of the things which I didn't say is just the intervention that my dad had when I did get arrested, because he didn't know what I was doing at the time, but he took a real interest into what I was doing after that, and he even said, you know what, I'll pay for you to go to this MMA gym. It's like so supportive, but he never, like my cousin never had that, right? So he was on the other side. He didn't have like a supportive role model or a father figure even that would help him out. So one of the days, him and his friend that both got arrested, I took them to Fowler's Park, which is a park close to Park Village. I had a pair of pads, no word of a lie, one pair of pads, one pair of gloves, because it was just them two. I'm like, let's just do something. Because the barrier to martial arts and stuff is money, like it is quite a lot of money. So I took them to the park, and by the end of, like, I was there in the end probably about 2.5 to 3 hours. By the end of that 3 hours, I probably had about 20 to 25 people from the area on this basketball court in Fowler's Park. And I remember there was a point in there where they're hitting the pads and doing stuff. And I'm like, man, the feeling I get from seeing that they can do something. And they only had one pair of pads and one pair of gloves, so everyone had to do different things. And it seemed like I had a natural inkling, to be honest, of coaching and caring for people and high energy, but also just being able to provide something where there's a need. Like, there's no youth clubs open at the time. There was nothing going on. Like, these couldn't go to a boxing club, or they don't know about boxing clubs. So to be able to provide, and I was like, man, this is what I want to do, because the feeling I get from knowing that these lot are going to have support, it was indispensable. So yeah, so that really gave me the idea of InPower. Now, the name and stuff didn't come along straight away, but I knew then I want to work with young people. I want to do something in these communities that don't have much. I don't want there to be barrier to sport, because sport can be a vehicle for change. So let me drop those barriers. Let me try to provide to these young people. Yeah, so my mentor helped me out here. So it did come from me, but at first I was gonna, like, I remember speaking, like, what do you want your company to be called? And I was like, do you know what? Fitness through fighting. I was like, yeah, let's call it Fitness Through Fighting. Like, I was hyped about it. And he was like, really? It's like, you want to help young people and do community stuff? And I was like, yeah, Fitness Through Fighting, because they're fighting and they're getting fit. And he's like, yeah, but that's not what you're trying to. He's like, do you know what? Just have a day. Just have a day. That's what you want. We'll go with it. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, what do I want? What do I want? And I was like, do you know what? What I really want to do to not just people, but communities and the city, is empower them to be better in every aspect of their lives. So that's empower, so EMPOWER. But I was like, to be empowered in life, it comes from something internal. So I took the internal part of empower and attached that to empower, because it's hard to get. And then I made InPower, so INPOWER, because to be empowered, it comes from something inside of you, a drive. And once you're internally empowered, you can kind of represent that and empower your community, city, parents, brothers, whatever it might be. So that's where the name came from. I don't usually like to categorize or put these young people in a box, but the ones we work with in a school, they'll always say, you know what, they're having behavioral issues or at risk of expulsion. So that will be kind of the top line. Like, if somebody's causing an issue in school or had a managed move or at risk of exclusion, we'll come in, and whether we're doing our one-to-one or group sessions, that's what we do. I'd say there's a split, probably like 70% males at the moment, 30% females. But yeah, they're struggling in some aspects of life, whether it's going to be confidence, self-esteem, and maybe they're getting exploited. That's a huge one at the moment. And maybe they think that, you know what, being in the streets and selling drugs is the only way of life. So their school academia is dropped. But being from a place where they was from and seeing what my friends went through, what I've went through, what other people have went through, I think the relatability aspect, especially myself, I can say, has always been there. I understand what they're going through, so I can empathize and then hopefully help them out. So yeah, I guess if we're gonna kind of talk about the young people, it's gotta be young people that are currently experiencing different behavioral issues and just need some additional support as well, right? Because again, and I come back to it so much, but I always had my dad as a father figure, as a role model. A lot of these young people don't have someone there that can really support them. And I'm not saying, and I would say honestly, probably like 85% probably don't have a father figure. But I'd say 84% have great mothers, like incredible, incredible, incredible mothers. But a lot of the times their mothers are having to provide, so their mothers will be out. So they don't get that kind of intense support that we can kind of come to a school and give them. We speak with the parents. Sometimes we go to the house with them and we'll do stuff like even little stuff like bake with them, make smoothies with them, talk about food. Yes, I think it's centered around martial arts and the philosophy of martial arts. But ultimately, we're trying to take them on a journey of self-transformation so they can achieve their potential. The future for InPower, we're growing bigger. The team's grown bigger in the last 2 months, like in a big way. So we're going to improve our early interventions. We're going to keep improving our mentoring. We want to get really into the online space as well. We've got like online video libraries coming, get more fighters involved in what we do, get more fighters involved in talking to the young people, assemblies. But one of the big dreams I've got, which is starting to materialize, to be honest with you, is that we want to set up a school. We want to InPower school, a place where young people can be welcomed, where they're not judged. We obviously have to stick to curriculum, but we can do other stuff because academia isn't always the way for every young person. So it'll be a very hands-on school, a lot of different experiences. But yeah, speak that into existence, and that's coming as well, InPower School. Honestly, I love this city. Like a lot of people have a lot to say about the city, but I've been to a lot of places, I've traveled a lot of places as well, and I'm not saying I don't know what the future holds now, I've got a family and stuff like that, but this city, regardless of where I go, like Wolves will always be what I rep, regardless, because I wouldn't be where I am without the city. Like the city makes us. So when I see people putting down the city, I'm like, yo, you're from the city. Like if you're not happy with your life, you change your life. Like the city didn't give you the situation or circumstance you're in, but it can make you. But it can make or break you. That's life in general. But to come back to your question, no, I don't think I've ever thought about really leaving the city and setting up somewhere else. But I think a big part about that as well, to be honest with you, is that we work across the city now and some of the neighboring cities as well. Like we're doing some work over in Dudley too. But as I mentioned, I grew up in Park Village, Heath Town. I saw the struggles there. So even when I hear a school within that area wants some work, I prioritize it. I know, but when we do our outreach projects, so we go to different parks, I'm making sure I still go to Fowler's Park because that's where it started. That's the park I used to go to as a kid. I go to the ramps. I want to speak to the young people. I'm still very much invested within the community because that's where I was from and I know the struggles there. As I said, that relatability aspect is key too. Like some of these young people, I'd be like, yeah, I was on the ramps too. Like I remember this, I remember that. And things haven't, the dynamics have shifted, like in what's going on, but the relatability aspect's still there. I've still got work to do where I am. But in the future, I definitely see InPower branching out and being global, for sure. I want people to say, you know what, Daryl, we live this truth, you know? Like I tell you, like this is something that's in me, and I think we've all got it, but we let it get drowned out by society, by family even, by friends. Like you, deep down, like everyone watching this, like deep down, you know you was put on the earth to do something, right? But you stop believing that you could do it because of everything around you. Like, I can't never do that. And then it faded away. So while it would have been loud when you was young, you let it go. Now it's just a whisper. I've always had that loudness there, and I had people that supported me that kept the noise there of saying, Daryl, like you was put on the earth to do something, and you have to do it. Like you gotta follow through. Like that's my truth. Like I've always lived my truth and never compared myself to someone else or did what they did. Said I was never a world champion kickboxer. You see people coming into this sector and they've got more accolades or something than me. But yeah, but what I do is what I do. I really give a damn about these young people and I really care about the community. Martial arts is the vehicle for change. But ultimately, again, I was put on the earth to do something, and I know that I found what I was meant to do as an individual. I don't compare myself to nobody. Say comparison's the killer of joy, which is true. I compare myself to myself. I try to get better every day for me, for my family, and hopefully that passes on. All right, so the 3 words that people would use to describe me. The first one, number 1, I'm gonna say is confident. People, if they're talking about what goals I want, like I say, I'm opening a school or doing that, I say it with so much clarity and confidence that it's going to happen. I'm going to make the person that's watching this believe it's going to happen. There's confidence in my vision because I know what I'm capable of. So confident, definitely. The second word I'd use to describe me is driven. Driven to almost to madness. Like if people understood how much hours and work and things that I've really put in to do what I've got to do, you'd be like, wow. But that's what it takes to get where you're going to get. So people that know me and people that I'm around know how driven I am. And the last one would say, the last word I'd use to describe myself is just caring. Like I genuinely, I mean, some people might call it an empath or anything, but I care about every single person. That's from young people, that's from the staff. I make sure staff all have different things, there's insurance in place, therapists to talk to, whatever it is. I really care about people. And yeah, I'm gonna say caring's the last one for sure. A misconception some people have about me, I would think, would be that, you know what, Daryl does everything at InPower. InPower is Daryl. And I say, you know what, no. InPower is a great team, and InPower is a way of life almost, right? So I say the people around me, and when I do my videos on Instagram and stuff like that, I try and make sure people know I've got an incredible team around me that have great, incredible stories as well, that do so much for these young people. It's really incredible. And I don't hold myself there and that they're there. I try and make sure that they're built up so we're all on kind of the same playing field. So I would say a misconception is, you know what, Daryl does everything at InPower. And really, I've got an incredible, strong team behind me. Yeah, I might be the captain, I might be the central mid right now, but the team do so much, so that's incredible. Do you know, okay, a song that represents me. I don't know, this is like my manifestation song. So I heard this song first on a computer game, but it stays with me. So when I hit a goal, or when even when I just want to vision the future, I play this song, and it's by The Whispers, and it's called And the Beat Goes On. I can't sing like some of the other people might have sung, so I can try and hum it. But there's also another song. I want to say this other song too, because it only just came to me. It's a Disney song, and it's off Hercules, and it says, I Can Go the Distance. Now that song, I swear, that song resonates with my internal dialogue, because it's like, I can go the distance. Yeah, it's just about, he can't see the end goal, but he knows he's destined for something big. That's how I feel.